Hi everybody, this video we're going to review our parallel and perpendicular lines. So, things to remember about parallel is we've got lines that never touch or intersect. When we start talking about parallel lines in equations, we know that the slopes of parallel lines are the same. Okay? Now, perpendicular is a little different. Remember that perpendicular lines do intersect, but they intersect at 90-degree angles or right angles. Okay, that's very specific about perpendicular. When we talk about perpendicular lines being a part of equations, then we're talking about their slopes being our opposite sign and reciprocals. Okay, so let's take a look at some of those examples because we're probably forgetting about what does reciprocal mean. Let's start off with our parallel line example. If I had the equation y equals 2x plus 1, and I wanted a parallel line equation going through and let's say 0, comma, -5. I know that my first step is to rewrite my equation, y equals 2x plus b. And even though I've rewritten it, notice how my slope stayed the same because I know I want parallel lines. But the thing that was changed is my b because I'm going to have a different y-intercept. Now, in order to solve for this new y-intercept, I'm going to be using the point that was given. I need it to go through this 0, 5. And this 0, 5 is in the form of x, y. So I can take this x, y and plug it into my equation here. So instead of y, I now have a -5 equals 2 times, instead of x, I have 0 plus b. I know that if I have any number times 0 is still going to be 0. So these kind of cancel out, and I found out that -5 is b, my new y-intercept. Final step, plug it back into this equation, but using my new b, I have y equals 2x minus 5. And this is the equation of the parallel line that goes through 0, -5. So that's parallel. Let's take a look at perpendicular. I'm going to go ahead and erase part of this. So if you need it, do go back and rewind this video. All right. So now we have some space here to work out a perpendicular line equation. So let's use the same equation, y equals 2x plus 1. But now I want a equation of a line perpendicular and goes through and let's go with 2, -1 this time. Okay. So what we have to do first is change my slope. it needs to be the opposite sign and the reciprocal. So my original slope is 2. When I take the opposite sign, it becomes a -2. And reciprocal just means we're going to flip the fraction. So when I take the reciprocal, instead of a whole number 2, it becomes 1/2. Because remember that any whole number is just that number over 1. So note that this -2 is the same thing as -2/1. Okay? So we now have this new slope. This is my perpendicular slope. And now we're going to go ahead and rewrite my equation just like I did for the parallel line equation. So I've got my y. I have my new slope of -1/2 x. And then I have my plus b, because I need to solve for this new y-intercept. And I'm going to use my x comma y here to plug in and solve for that new y-intercept. So my y now becomes -1. My -1/2 is my slope. My x becomes 2. And then I'm solving for b. So now I have this fraction of -1/2 multiplied by a 2. And that's going to end up being -1 plus b. Okay. Now, if I were to go ahead and I need to move this -1 over to the other side, since it's being subtracted, I need to do the opposite and add both sides. These cancel both of them out, and I find out that b equals 0. So my new equation is y equals -1/2 x plus 0, or 0 does not have a value. So it's the same thing if I were to just write y equals -1/2 x. And that is your example for writing a perpendicular equation.